explain the faith alone insofar as it might be dangerous to abide by? Eric. Yeah, Eric, that's a great question. And first of all, as a Catholic, I hold to the truth of Ephesians chapter 2, that we are saved by faith through grace and not by works. Because there is no work that I can do that would ever make it possible to earn salvation. I can't. Because if I do a good work, what am I doing? I am using God's stuff. How can I dare to use the things of this world that already belongs to God and say, well, Lord, I'm giving you your stuff back. Don't I deserve heaven? No. But he will freely give it to us. But we do need to have the grace of faith. Faith itself does come by grace. This is why we Catholics call faith a theological virtue. It is not something that we humans can manufacture by our own power. Faith is a gift from God, a gift of his grace. So this is necessary for salvation, and the grace of faith is necessary. And I can't do it by works alone. However, there are a couple other things that we have to keep in mind. That, as you mentioned, in James chapter 2, is it verse 26? It says that you are justified by works and not by faith alone. Now, faith is necessary, but not faith by itself. So, for instance, a good example of what else we need is in Romans. Now, Romans, that's the great, the great letter on faith, isn't it? Isn't that about justification by faith? Yes. But he also says in chapter 8 of Romans that you are saved by hope. And this is something that is a very important thing, that you have hope. It's not something extra, it's necessary. And then if you toss in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, where it says these three things last: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. So that love is even greater than faith. Why? Because in heaven, should we go there, we won't have faith anymore. We won't have any hope in heaven. Why not? Because we won't need it. We'll see God face to face. So we won't need faith. And we don't need hope because we attained heaven. That's what we were hoping for. So when you got what you hoped for, you don't need hope anymore. You have it. But love lasts forever. So it's not that faith is secondary or something. It's necessary. And we need the grace of faith, but we don't want to add the word alone when it is not in the text of the scripture. And if it's not in the text of the scripture, there's a reason for that. It's because God has much more to offer us. And then we can go on to other passages. For instance, 1 Peter 3, baptism now saves you. We need baptism. And then in John 6, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you cannot have life within you. God doesn't want us to limit what he is doing. So it is faith. It is also the good works, for which in that Ephesians 2 passage says you were created for good works. and that the book of Revelation says you'll be judged by your works. That's why Luther took the book of Revelation out of the Bible. For a while, he put it back in eventually. But he tried to take out James as well. No, no, no. You don't take books out to fit your doctrine. You fit your doctrine to what's written and see the full counsel of God, all of his wisdom, not just the parts that I get. That would be the thing. What you may want to do is take a look at another book I wrote. It's not very long, but it's called Saved, a Bible study for Catholics. What do we see the Bible teaching about salvation in its richness? That's what we want. So that I would urge you to take a look at that and see how all of these elements are kept in balance. And not faith alone, but faith by grace and so much more. Okay?